Welcome to Season 2, Episode 23 of the XI of Spurs podcast, where today we'll be debriefing on that defeat to Wolves, but we'll also be moving on to a happier subject. We will be building the greatest ever Tottenham 11 in the Premier League era of our favourite flops. So we've got almost a full house today. Sorry you couldn't be with us, Deej. But we'll dive right into the Wolves game, shall we, boys? Si, I'll start with you. What on earth happened? Are you alarmed? Are you concerned? Or is this all okay?
Alarmed? No. Concerned? Not really. I think that's what happens when you rip 4 players out of the spine of a team that have been fundamental to the success of that team so far this season. Maddison was I think almost the biggest miss for us in that. I think Dier and Davies actually did quite well at centre half between the two of them for the most part of it. But what we then failed to have was we had that midfield that were 3 players too similar to each other. Højbjerg didn't give the out that Maddison gives. Was never going to, by the way, but he doesn't give that out. So therefore, because we can't play as high as what we were doing with Romero and Mickey at the back, it wasn't compressed enough in the middle of the park. We won't be able to play through the lines, and Wolves really just took control of the middle of the park there, I think. But it is what it is. We knew that there was going to be some bumps in the road. We know. Listen, if you'd have given us second going into this international break, 2 points off the top going into the international break, I think we'd have all bitten each other's hands off. But no, there's too many people with too many knee-jerk reactions out there in Podland and Twitterland, and all of a sudden it's like, we really should have stuck everything behind the ball. All right, yeah, whatever. But it was a lack of concentration at the end that undid us. And if you look at the especially the first goal, I think was a prime example of that. Is somebody who's not used to playing in the system. Dier has tried to play an exquisite pass up to Kulusevski when the pass wasn't on. And that's what led to the first goal. I mean, great take and great finish for the first goal, by the way. But and he should have been tracked. But that was part of that.
Well, and I'll pass that question to Stu. Like, how much of this was just simple as Wolves scored 2 brilliant goals versus certain players didn't meet expectations? Where do you think it all?
Yeah, I think especially their first goal was, it's a wonderful, wonderful finish. And 9 out of 10 times he doesn't score it, let's be honest. And I fear, once that went in, I was fearing the worst, and I think everybody was. The crowd just got up, and that was it. If they hadn't scored that, I think we'd have ridden it out and won the game. So, yeah, I think that obviously, had a big impact. I think we had chances to score the second. Johnson, where he hit it and kind of came up with cramp or whatever it was. The Lo Celso shot, which was a great shot that was, saved that would have put us up 2-0 and closed the game off. But I think Sai's right. I think, Davies and Dier obviously got a lot of abuse, in the Twitter sphere. But I think it's not a surprise that their lack of game time impacted the concentration. And by the 96th minute, they were tired, not used to it anymore, and they switched off. And they didn't get protected. Højbjerg potentially was at fault for both of the two for not tracking back more than even more than Dier. The thing that I would take away from the game was I was disappointed in Ange for not sticking enough with his beliefs. I know we're not allowed to criticize Ange.
Don't swear on the pod. Don't swear on the pod, Stu.
But I understand why he made the decision to play Højbjerg, because I don't think he did trust Davies and Dier. So I understand where he's coming from, but I think it veered away from his style of the way he wants us to play. And I think the playing Lo Celso, the like-for-like exchange with Maddison, which would have been a much more positive change, would have been a better, would have had a potentially better outcome, because I think the midfield lost us the game and not the defence.
But isn't this, Johnny, what separates Ange from the likes of Bielsa, who are just so uncompromising that eventually it does fall flat? I always thought Ange's tactics, he's uncompromising in the way he'll always have a go, but he has far more tactical nous to him than those kind of managers, which is why he's had far more success in many ways. But where did you pin it, Johnny? Was it team selection? Was it Ange? Was it just a case of you're missing your four best players and Wolves are a good team?
To be honest, I was quite impressed with Wolves. Obviously, like if they'd had a half decent striker, we could have been, a lot further behind if we're being honest. I don't know how many corners they had. I wasn't worried. It was like watching our corners back in the day. Every time they got a corner, I wasn't really sweating it. But yeah, no, Wolves played really well. We were great for the first 3 or 4 minutes, and after that, it was just, yeah, it was really disappointing. I don't know what about the team selection. I do think Stu's right. I'm surprised that Lo Celso didn't start, and I'm disappointed he didn't start. Also, even if he didn't start, it was fairly obvious that he should have been coming on earlier than that, in my opinion. Because it was the midfield that was causing us not playing the kind of ball that we usually play. And I think the lads who came in actually did as well as you could probably expect, considering they've basically not kicked a ball all season. So yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, like when I was watching it with my dad and my eldest lad, and my dad kept banging on, and I was irritated because I knew he was right that he it just underlines again the responsibility that especially Kuti has, and to a lesser degree Udogie, for what happened on Monday night before. I'm sorry, I really think that, given how thin we are, I know when Romero got the red card, Van de Ven hadn't gone down with his injury yet, but we can't afford to lose one centre back, never mind two. So for me, it didn't really tell us. The game didn't really tell us a whole lot that we didn't already know. We knew what our shortcomings are, where we need to strengthen. We've got some huge games coming up now. I guess, yeah, it's Villa, City, West Ham, Newcastle. They're challenging games coming up, and I hope that Ange. I'm a bit surprised he doesn't have the courage of his convictions, and I know that's not actually the phrase I meant to say, because he does. I mean, he's a very experienced manager, but yeah, just didn't quite fit with everything we've seen so far. I was a bit surprised, and
Yeah. It's, I think, when you see your team playing such halfway up the pitch with 9 men against Chelsea, you think we're just going to go in against Wolves with a similar mentality. But it felt a bit like there was a tiny bit of risk aversion there, which is probably the sensible and right thing to do. And let's be fair to him. We were 5 minutes away from winning that game. It wasn't like his tactics completely flopped. They were working really well, and then those fragilities just overshadowed, didn't they?
I would yes, we were 5 minutes away from winning that game, but I wouldn't say the tactics worked. We had one shot on target that went in, and the next shot on target was in the 90th minute, which was Lo Celso. So I wouldn't say that the tactics worked. We were lucky, as Johnny said, that they didn't have clinical finishers at our end, the defensive end.
No, fair enough. I don't want to dive into it too much. I think we can really, really pick it apart. But you're picking apart a depleted makeshift team, and then I think it goes into this rabbit hole of, is Dier good enough? Is Davies good enough? And all this negativity begins around players who have always given everything, regardless of being good enough or not, being put into a team and asked to play in a way that they're not suited to. And that's all you can ask for them. And it's not the manager's fault either. He's inherited a team that he said needs 4 transfer windows, 2 years to build.
Yeah.
And he's 1/4 of the way through that, and I'd say he already appears to be halfway through the project in terms of building a fantastic team. So he's way ahead of schedule. We all still love you, Ange.
And only one of those that started on Saturday was an Ange signing outfield player in LC Vic, but there was only one outfield player that was an Ange signing, and that was Johnson, right? Now some of the others have adapted to the ways of playing, and he's brought them on. But that's, if you look at the transfer window and what he's talking about, there was only one player there that he's gone out and picked. One outfield player that he's gone out and picked.
Yeah, that's very true as well.
There was also, I think it's, I was really impressed by Porro. I thought he had a really good game, and I thought Jackie had a really good game as well. And just what we've been saying about the Kulusevski all season, I just think I don't think he gets enough the credit he deserves. I thought he was continually doing exactly what he's done in the earlier games this season, just holding the ball, just not giving the ball away. And I know he doesn't have the pace, and Porro was really, really solid at the back. I don't know. I think there were individual performances which were pretty handy, and there were like Son was. I guess the forward players weren't really getting much of the ball, were they?
No.
Son was pretty much anonymous, wasn't he? And he kind of there's that romantic part of you which is naive and probably incorrect. Because Jim, you're right. Being pragmatic about it, you're pretty much bang on 90 minutes when they scored the equaliser. So you're so close to 3 points, but you've got like Donnelly on the bench, and you or even Valise, and you're sort of thinking, when Son's doing nothing, you sort of think these boys would be absolutely dying to get on the pitch. Wouldn't it be nice to see what they can do for 5 minutes? I don't know.
But is that what we want, or what's best?
Yeah, no, I think so.
We've seen it before. We all begged for Spence to play for 9 months, and it's very clear that was
absolutely.
And there's another player Mourinho had it with. It's just Dane Scarlett. Playing for God's playing for God. Oh, okay, now we see why. The coach who's won 3 Champions Leagues or whatever it is knows a little bit more than us.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was going to say, Ange said in the press conference before the game that he's not going to play people for the sake of playing them. They've got to earn it. And
it can have a detrimental effect on young players if you're brought on and everyone goes, oh my God, you're rubbish, actually, after all. And it's a really tough environment for them. So it is what it is. I'm not too concerned, no. I don't know about you guys. I just kind of feel we're ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
There's going to be bumps in the road. We're missing our 4 best players. We always said if everyone stayed fit, we've got a shot at a title here. But that hasn't happened. So, the expectations probably now are, I still think we can get top 4. I think we're going to have a really tough few games, but when it hits January, we're going to have a lot of these people back, and we're going to add 1 or 2, and I think we're going to go in that second half of the season really strong, particularly when those other teams around us start playing in Europe and have that really busy period. I think we've got a huge advantage. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we dive into building our favourite Tottenham 11 of flops that we'd like to play along with our listeners? And if you're watching on YouTube, please comment in the section if you agree. Because Stu thinks Dele Alli warrants a space in this in the flop 11, which I just think is absolutely crazy.
Stick Stu under the bus early doors.
Especially as I would have called him out for it.
I know, I'm joking. We'll argue about that one in a bit. But for those watching on YouTube, you can see the screen, but I'll put it up in a sec. But if you're not, don't stress about it. We'll just talk you through it. But can everyone see that? Yeah. So I think we've got to go for the formation first, right? What is our favourite formation under a manager that didn't necessarily work out, but was maybe we enjoyed it as fans? I mean, for me, it's on the screen there. It's that Harry Redknapp 4-4-2. But what about you guys? No comments.
I think the 4-3-3.
4-3-3.
I grew up watching 4-3-3.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching 4-4-2 at Tottenham, but
I've got the numbers are all wrong here, but just ignore the numbers. Ignore the numbers.
Yeah,
what do you want? Something like this?
These days.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that. Something like that.
Something like that. All right. Let's start in goal, shall we, boys? Who's our cult hero that never really fulfilled those expectations that you wouldn't want anywhere near this team?
Favourite fluffing goal.
I'll start with you, Si. Go on. Where's your number one?
I think it's got to be Gomez, isn't it?
Is it even worth debating? The octopus?
I don't think it is. I think anyone comes with anything else, then it needs a really strong argument other than Gomez, I think. Because he was great and we loved him, but he was shocking at times, wasn't he?
Penalties, fantastic. Throwing the ball, fantastic. Playing with his feet and catching the ball, terrible.
Yeah.
The crying face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also loves Spurs. It's one of those that shouldn't love Spurs, but he still talks about us like it was his favourite period.
He looked like he had a really long nose as well, like that. One of those things out of Popeye, didn't he?
He was a really good shot stopper, though, wasn't he? He was like that classic shot stopper. But,
he was. He wasn't terrible.
Reflexes.
Yeah.
But he was £8 million back in 2008, though. That's a lot of money for a keeper back then.
Yeah.
So I think he's quite an expensive favourite flop as well.
He's just not your standard Brazilian goalkeeper, because he was just awful with his feet. Yeah, he was definitely the one at school who was
Brazilian right back.
Yeah. He's actually got a shout for someone that we all like, we all appreciate.
Yeah.
But He's not very good, but he's got the great mentality. So we'll go to right back, shall we? What did you guys have in mind? I'll start with you this time, Johnny.
Right back, I've gone for Aurier.
Aurier, you liked Aurier, did you? Stu, I want to debate that one.
Yeah, I've gone for Doherty.
Doherty.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because
not bad.
I had such high expectations for him. Seemed like a really nice guy, but he was awful.
I've gone different to all of you guys. Go on, Si.
I've gone early. I've gone way earlier than that. So maybe this is my age coming into play a little bit as well. I mean, Johnny, you'll know this from way back in the day. I've gone Alan Hutton.
What are you trying to say, bro?
Alan Hutton.
I'm trying to say we're in the same ballpark, Johnny. I'm going Alan Hutton. 9 million from
good shout,
from Rangers in 2008. Big fee for a right back, and I just really liked him. But he was
Great
shocking.
hair.
He was
Great
quick.
hair. Great hair.
Great hair.
Yeah.
Didn't he nut his dad
Lovely
as well?
party. Huh?
He nutted his dad, I think, didn't he, in the pub over some argument?
Oh, I love him even
Was he
more now.
Glaswegian?
He's first name on the team sheet.
I've gone different to all of you. I've gone Pascal Chimbonda.
Oh, yeah, that's a
I
shout.
liked him.
Yeah.
He did a great leap. He was pretty rubbish. I don't remember him having really any strengths apart from his jump. But he was
better than Doherty.
better than Doherty, yeah. We've got to decide on one. I think it's supposed to all go for different people. I mean, I'm happy to settle on Hutton if that's what the general generated the most noise. Any objections?
Yeah.
Let's go for Alan Hutton. Get the Scotsman in there.
Jim, by the way, I know I've got a red on my headphones, which is shocking, and I will promise to do something about that.
2 losses
But,
and you're already wearing
mate,
Arsenal colours.
There's a bit of a goon vibe with the blue sleeves. Can you put? I know it's blue. Thank you. Yes, that's better.
Yeah, okay.
Cheers, mate.
We got it. We've changed it.
Cheers.
What about right centre back? Go on, Stu. Who do you think?
Was Kevin Wimmer right or left?
Neither.
There you go. But he was Son's best mate. That's why I've gone for him.
Who isn't?
The centre back from Austria. That did he play Champions League with us? I went to watch Dortmund away, and I'm pretty sure he was in the team then. Yeah. Anyone else have any other centre backs, Johnny or Si? You had a suggestion.
I was thinking like Foyth, because like
Foyth.
I mean, didn't Foyth got a World Cup winners medal now?
Yeah, you wanted him to be so good, didn't you?
Yeah, and I
But
think he might have been.
boy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He could play with a ball, you know. He was like kind of graceful, long legs. Carried the ball nicely. Just, he was very young. Didn't really get much of a run out, and did he think might have got an injury or two?
Yeah.
Definitely had
Another
a bit
one
of
in there
potential.
that looked the part, really looked the part. And when you saw him run onto the pitch, you thought, "Oh, we got a player here." Was Federico Fazio.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you really thought, "There's a guy." Yeah, and another decent amount of money for a centre half, but he was 6'4" and couldn't head a bloody ball.
But he also couldn't run. That's where he went wrong when he ran onto the pitch, not when he kind of waddled on.
So he couldn't run, tackle, or head a ball. Other than that,
Yeah.
I remember he screwed up in one of his first games in the North London Derby, and he basically gave an assist to Flamini, who scored the winning goal.
there you go.
So that wasn't a good. No, exactly.
Do you remember Ricardo Rocha?
Yep, he was on my list.
He was another one.
Rocha.
I remember him. He was signed. I remember just because back then you got the news in the papers, and it was Spurs signed Portuguese international. And this is when we were a bit mid-table. We didn't get our team wasn't littered with internationals. The best thing you had was this kind of like EDL stance of like, look at all the English names on the team sheet. That's what it's all about. And then you sign this exciting international, Ricardo Rocha for Portugal, and he comes on his debut, and he does this weird kind of like diving header in our own box, and I think it was an own goal, or he gave away the ball and it was just scored. It was absolutely terrible.
There was also one of the Fantastic Seven. There's Chiriches. Who's also absolutely awful.
That's a good.
Isn't he left centre back though?
I don't know.
Vlad.
So we've got to choose two here, boys, for our centre backs. I'm any particular ones stand out there in those chats? I'm happy with Wimmer as one.
Vimmer.
liked
What
him.
about Bassong? Did we like Bassong?
Oh, Bassong. Yeah, I liked
forgot
him.
we
about
loved
Bassong.
Bassong, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
left
really
centre
liked
back is
Bassong.
Bassong.
Yeah, I like
Bassong.
Bassong.
So Bassong, and it's got to go between Fazio or Vimmer for right centre back.
I'm going to go for
votes
Wimmer
in.
because he seems like a nicer bloke.
I'd be
Okay.
happy with Rimmer there as well. I'll go with that.
Oh.
I'll let my Fazio go.
Look at
And
that.
we made a lot of money off him selling
Yeah.
Stoke.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Stoke.
What about a left back?
Here we've got a lot to choose
Go
from.
on. Oh God, go on, Stu. Then start with you. You got one in mind? You got to pick one.
Gilberto, a Brazilian who didn't know how to play.
Yes.
Did you like him? Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
So
So
bad.
I had him on a list, but I never warmed to him.
I never warmed to him. No. But I was excited by him. I thought he's another Brazilian
Exactly.
international.
It's another
Done
potential,
loads of
isn't
good
it?
stuff. Yeah. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I've Gilberto. He's 35 caps for Brazil, and he played in the 2006 World Cup and the 2010 World Cup, and in between that he was at Tottenham. Apparently, I didn't know this fact, but he started 7 games, and in 3 of the 7 games that he started, he was substituted before half time. So, in fairness, that is pretty
Oh
epic.
my God, how bad were we?
That is outrageous.
So you also Gilberto? Did you have someone else?
I'm not. I mean, I've got a bit of a controversial one because this is someone who I think really didn't fulfil their potential, and we loved him at the Lane, but he could have been so much better. I think Danny Rose is a little bit of a flop at the end of his career.
Ooh, I see this. He had what? 18
He had
good
2
months.
good seasons.
Yeah,
Yep.
18 good months.
Yep.
And he was an arse at the end as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool,
he was a bit of a
Daniel,
dick.
So you feel.
He sort of dined out on that goal in his debut as well. He dined out on that for quite some time. So, and I'm not saying that I had him, and the other one I had was Asor Koto.
Oh, I
No,
loved
that's
him,
a-
but he was good.
Well,
I actually
Yeah,
think
he was good. Koto was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought.
I had another.
Go on.
Sorry, go say.
No. So for me, I had Rose in there. I know that's going to be controversial, and I'll probably get pelters in the comments.
No.
But for me, it was he had, like to your point, Jim. He had 18 months, 2 years of rose-tinted football. The rest of it, no.
Yeah, and we loved him as well. I think,
And
as
we
well.
did
So
love him.
He ticks the box of a loved flop. Whereas
And then he
Gilberto
turns up
was a bigger
now.
flop.
Now he turns up now on podcast dressed as Che Guevara. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I am tempted to side of you on that one because Gilberto was definitely the bigger flop. But I think if we have time at the end, we'll probably edit this to be our all-time flop 11, and Gilberto's in there. But I did have
without
another
doubt.
name. Lee
I've got another
Young-pyo.
shout.
Oh, go on.
A tuba.
Atuba, Timothy Atuba.
Timothy
Barely
Atuba.
even remember him. He was so shit. Yeah.
Brilliant
My
goal against
goodness.
Newcastle.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
a few. If we're doing all-time flops, there's a few in there. You've got Lee Young-pyo.
He
Oh,
wasn't
he's
a
one of my
flop.
favourite. He's one of my
I loved
favourite
Lee.
flops.
He was class.
Yeah, I think
Stolteri.
He was
Yeah.
right back.
right back.
Was he right
And
back?
he's-
Oh, sorry,
and
I'll
he's
right
switch him
back.
to the right back. Yeah, but
He
Paul
scored that
Stolteri, the
winner
one-
goal.
Who lost us to Champions League against Arsenal when he let was Henry who get past him in the derby.
But he did score the winner versus West Ham
Yep.
in the 4-3 where Defoe broke through. So do we go controversial and put Danny in just because it's controversial? And calling him a flop will annoy people. So who's our number 8? And this is definitely not number 7 there, but who's our number 8 then, boys? Who's our Yves Bissouma of Tottenham flops?
I've gone with Sissoko.
I thought he was all
good
right.
shout.
I thought he was okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you
35
remember how
million.
bad he was at the
And I did
beginning.
like
He
him.
was. He was a panic buy, wasn't he? He was like a Levy 30 million on the last day of the.
He was
The transfer
literally
went
Levy's
down.
Christmas present, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Poch
yeah.
said in
that's
his
after
book.
we got spanked up there last game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And Daniel literally rung Poch and said, I've got a present for you on deadline day. And it was literally Sissoko, which he didn't ask for. But he actually did a good job, became a important player for Poch and played in the Champions League final. But he loses a lot of kudos for giving away that penalty, even though it wasn't his fault. And that match should be replayed. So yeah, we've got Sissoko. Anyone else?
Huddleston.
Holtby.
Oh, I loved him.
Oh,
He was
Exactly.
good, wasn't he?
loved
Exactly.
He
him.
was
but-
good.
He was good, but he never
No.
made his potential for us, honestly. You look at the games and the goals, it was sweet left foot, and we loved him to pieces.
Fond of a pie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he loved it. To Hull and back. So for me, Huddleston, I loved the fella. I thought he was so... He was like Dembele without the quality.
What about Holtby, though?
Lewis.
Yeah.
I'd have him slightly further forward.
Yeah, I would too. As
Really?
Well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have him where the number 10 shirt is at the moment. He's like James Maddison, but really bad.
He
Like-
wishes.
But yeah, I like Huddlestone because if you Football Manager has the stats, everything is out of 20. He was like 20 passing, long range passing, and then 4 tackling and 2 pace. So he kind of like 2 of the 3 very important attributes he didn't have. But he scored some screamers, didn't he?
The strike of the ball was
Amazing.
just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one that I had in there, and I don't think he should go in here, but he came into my thinking, not because of the player he was or that we particularly loved him, but he's given us one of the biggest talking points we've ever had in our history, or certainly our Premier League history, and that's Pedro Mendes for the goal that was not a goal with Roy Carroll.
That's right, yeah.
Another one, Stambouli.
Stambouli.
I thought he was a centre back.
Sounds like a bread, doesn't it? You'll have that. I'll have the Stambouli, please, mate, yeah?
He does.
He came with like big fanfare from France and went back very quickly.
What about Kevin Prince Boateng? Wasn't he a number 8?
Yes.
No, he was further forward.
Was he?
Forward.
And he wasn't a flop either.
He
he
was
never
for
got-
us.
He never got given a chance because he fell out with
Redknapp.
Yol.
Was
Oh,
Or was it
Yol?
Redknapp? Yeah, whoever it was. Because he was scoring for fun
I
in
think
the youth team, and he never got a shot because he fell out.
There were some good ones we had though. I liked Scott Parker. I liked Wanyama and Palacios. Another decent one. Winston Palacios.
Wilson.
But, Wilson.
Winston.
Winston.
Was it
Well, you called him Winston.
Winston.
That was his brother. He was really good.
The one who got kidnapped.
Goodness sake. Who's our James Maddison in this team then, but playing in a slightly deeper role?
I've
Paulinho?
got David Bentley up in that position.
Oh, I had him right wing.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I think
Janus come into here anyway.
Yeah, Genus
He's
and
not a
Holtby.
flop. Come on.
Oh, Genus was meant to be a wonder kid from Newcastle.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the
Built our
next
team
big
around.
thing.
It was not a flop. Though.
He was good.
He scored that goal against Arsenal as well, the
Got a
5-1.
lot of goals against Arsenal.
Yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? But
Where does
Holtby's got to be
Paulinho
up there.
go? Paulinho's got to go in there. Come on.
I've got him on the other side.
The other side, okay.
Yeah, I think I see him in that 6th position there. I see Paulinho there. Because that was when we had the bail money, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we lined him up with Lamella, who's got a
Make
shot
it
on the right wing
rain,
as well.
Daniel. Make it rain.
And he did make it rain. Rained absolute turds. But we were all buzzing for that transfer window. We were so... I was adamant for Giovanni Dos Santos on the right wing as well. Or whenever you got a South American at that time, you were just like, they must be so good. Because it was kind of like a bit of a thing back then, wasn't it? But yeah, so who are we going for? So we've got shortlisted. We've got Holtby. We could say Paulinho is more of a 6. So is it Holtby?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's difficult to think of a flop of a number 10 that we've had, though.
That's also.
I don't like him though.
Yeah, no, me neither. I think he's a dick.
It's only players we liked. There's got to be players we like. We've got to look at him and go, I loved all of you, but you were shit. So we've got to look at it as. Yeah.
If we were going out drinking with this team, you'd want to go, yeah, I want to have a beer with all of you. I think the Celso would just be a bit of a blowout.
It's got
I
to
don't
be
want to go
people
for a beer with Rose.
They're so unknown now that we could
he's
probably
just
get
the one
them on
you
the
don't talk
podcast.
to in the corner.
Love to go for a beer with Alan Hutton. That would be so good.
Yeah.
Bring your
He'd be
dad,
safe.
Alan.
Yeah.
Bring your dad. We'll all kick the shit out of him.
Was Alan Celtic or Rangers, Johnny? Do you know?
Rangers.
Rangers.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So a 6, Paulinho, as you guys said, he's definitely in there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is there someone else you had in mind?
No.
Okay. Right wing's going to be a big arguing point. So I want to start on the left. I've got a name here. I want to start with Steed.
Malbranc.
Steed Malbranc. He was kind of
Great
something
name.
was fun about watching him, even though nothing was ever going to happen when he got to the end of the pitch. But still, I was like, yeah. Anyone else got any other suggestions there?
What about Reed?
Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Was he a left winger? I thought Soldado was a striker. He was, wasn't he? When he kept getting
Was
flat.
he right?
He was meant to be
left or
wasn't he?
right?
Yeah, he had left foot. That's for sure.
Yeah. Where does Lamella fit in this?
Oh,
Right wing.
he's right, but he's not nailed on. We've got some competition there, Si. Let's finish off the left. Who's our number 7? Who's our Heung-min Son upgrade? Or
I've
Johnson upgrade?
My front three isn't exactly like a left, a right, and a striker.
Okay, we can adapt.
I've gone with Steven Bergwijn on the left.
Yeah,
I think,
lovely fella.
Lovely fella, and he remember obviously his debut goal against City.
I've got to veto it, guys. He's gone to Ajax to be their captain.
Oh, sorry, pal, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And
Fair
his
enough.
celebration was like,
Back
it
of
even
the box.
annoyed me as a Spurs fan, his celebration.
Yeah,
I imagine
true.
which it irked other people.
But the Leicester game was a bit special, though, wasn't it?
It
was
was
magic.
It was.
Yeah.
His
Yeah, God. Whatever it was, so terrible. So who are we going for, boys?
What about Rule Fox? He was one I had high hopes for. That didn't really ever.
Right, when he was right wing, Rule Fox,
Was
I'm
he right?
sure.
So I think
dunno,
we've
but
got
Rule Fox could be a good shout. We loved Rule Fox, but he wasn't very good.
He wasn't very good.
So we got Rule Fox, Steve Bergwijn, Steed Malbranc, and was anyone else in the short list? Dominguez.
What, Jose?
Yeah.
Well, here's where it gets controversial. What about Delhi?
Oh.
I know
He's
you're
in the
gonna
rose
shake your head.
envelope,
Hear
isn't he, a
me
little
out.
bit?
Hear me out. He was incredible, and he's in this because it's players we love. I love it, and he was incredible. But only reason I say flop, he's not a flop. None of these people are flops in the grand scheme of things. They're all Premier League footballers, I would say. But Delhi, in my eyes, was on the stratospheric rise to be in the Gareth Bale bracket of brilliant, the next cult hero of the club. And then so quickly, he amounted to so little. And that's not his fault, and that's not a dig at him, because we all know the bigger picture as to why that's happened. But does he therefore warrant a conversation, or can we not? Was he too good for too long?
He was too good. I mean, he
Too long.
scored so many goals over such a long time. You can't call him a flop.
Yeah, 20 goals in a season. I think you get yourself out of this bracket.
Yeah, I think
Or even
so.
15. Yeah.
But I do like the Dominguez shout, though, Stu.
Dominguez, how do I spell it?
Jose Dominguez signed in the same season as Ginola for 400,000 less than Ginola. So he was in the same bracket as Ginola.
Right.
Lovely fella. Very
Lovely
cute
fella.
little lovely fella, but he's nowhere near 400,000 shy of Ginola.
All right, he's in there. He's in. So, our right winger, I think we've got. HG wanted to make sure Lamella was entertained in this conversation. But HG, you can't nominate players you hate. It's got to be players you love.
I love Lamella.
I loved him.
I love him. HG hates him. Just to be
horrible
clear.
little bastard.
Yeah.
He was horrible. He was,
funny.
Flop in the sense he cost a lot of money. And I still to this day think that it hadn't been for that double hip operation, he might have fulfilled it, but he didn't. But I mean, he loved us. We loved him.
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you want?
Doesn't he?
He had the issue with his dog.
Yep.
Didn't he? That kept him out for a little while.
2 Rabonas. One against the
Rabonas. I mean, the Rabona against the filth has got to have him right up there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But 30 million, though. 30 million he cost.
He was Gareth Bale's heir.
Yeah.
That's what always let him down.
20 goals the season that we bought him from Roma. He was amazing.
Wow.
I mean, what's 30 million in today's money? I mean, that's 10 years ago that we got him, by the way.
Yeah.
2013 we bought him.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is he's a Richarlison.
He's the right-winged Richarlison. Yeah. So, is there any other debate of this right-wing position?
No,
Who else
not
did we
really.
say earlier? We said someone else. Who was it? Bentley, come on, he's got to be in with a shout. That volley versus Arsenal. But he was a gooner.
Yeah, he was a gooner.
Can't be loved. It's
Can't be loved.
Yeah, but he's got a restaurant in Spain now, doesn't he, Bentley?
Yeah.
Probably. Of course he has. Of course he has. Be even more stereotypical, Dave. Go and open one in Marbella.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Has he got laminated menus?
He's got a great paella.
And he knows all the local lads.
Yeah.
He's all in with the gangsters.
Striker. We've had a lot of strikers.
So
and we've
many.
got 2 or 3 young ones now that seem to be slowly fading away as every year we go that he's going to have a good loan, but he's not. But who do we have here, boys? Soldado?
Bobby. It's got to be Bobby, yeah.
It's got to be. I've got Zamora as my number 1.
No.
No, yeah.
Bobby Soldado. I've got Bobby Zamora.
Soldado.
I got
No,
Soldado.
I'm talking about Soldado. Bobby Soldado.
I went Bobby Zamora.
No, that's not bad.
We have competition in the midfield we didn't think of. Didier Zakora.
Didier.
Yeah.
He would run the whole pitch.
Defensive
3 or 4
midfielder,
players.
wasn't he?
Never scored a goal, did he? Just blew it every time.
Stick Freund in at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, Freund. He's another one. But so it's got to be Roberto Soldado.
I mean, we've got so many. We've got Rebrov. I mean, I don't know if we loved him, but he was probably an even bigger flop than
Pavlyuchenko.
Soldado.
Pavlyuchenko's got to be
That
up
was
there.
class.
The year that Sheva went to Milan, they were the best striking partners in Europe, Rebrov and Shevchenko. Shevchenko went to Milan, won Champions League. We got Rebrov. Shit.
Yeah. Can we have them both? No. I will take the shit one then, mate.
It's like didn't City got Fernandinho the same summer that we got Paulinho?
Yeah,
They're supposed to be like one or the other.
But yeah, I did just want to give a nod to Zamora. I did like Bobby Zamora. Yeah. And if you've got a song named after you about the ball hitting your head when you're sat in row Z, that's Zamora.
That's a great
song. I think that lends it. But I'm happy with Soldado because I loved him as well. But and for 26 mil, he's probably a bigger flop than Zamora that we got at 1.5 mil.
And we all wanted it to work so much.
I've got one other that I want Soldado as the one, but one other is Postiga. When Cristiano Ronaldo went to United, Postiga was supposed to be the next superstar Portuguese striker, and that didn't work out too well either.
Held the Postiga, and he was still knocking around until a couple of seasons ago, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember whenever I went over for Soldado's home debut, and I think we played Swansea and won 1-0 with a Soldado penalty. And when I was at the game, I got both my boys a jersey. Got Soldado in the back of Kieran's, and I got Paulinho in the back of Callum's. I'm like, Jesus, they didn't really last, did they?
Oh my God!
You think you know when you've got the new player and you can't wait to get it's like Maddison now. You can't wait to get the name in the back of the shirt or whatever.
Do you know what we should do next week though? We should have, as we've got to fill with the international break, a bit of something a bit more interesting than Gareth Southgate and our other players out. We should do the best and worst ever Tottenham 11. So we'll start with the worst ever. Forget people you like. And then the best ever Premier League 11. We haven't actually done the manager yet. We've got to finish on the manager on here, by the way. This is where it gets difficult. I know what people are going. So they've got to have been a manager that never met the expectations we had, that we adored.
Well, that's all of them.
Well, Tim Sherwood.
Well,
no.
Yeah.
You got to like him as well.
Yeah. What about Mr. Gross, who's arrived on the underground?
With his ticket, he sat there at the press conference with his travel card, looking like a physics teacher that's got lost on the way to school.
Oh.
And he was our answer to Arsene Wenger.
Oh my
That's
God!
Right.
Came from Basel, didn't he? We got him from Basel.
Yep. Exactly.
Who was the most disappointing manager we've ever had? Don't mind if you like them or not. Who did you have the highest expectations for?
Wande Ramos, like he came in and he obviously won the trophy, didn't he, in his first couple of months? But you know he's done the business with Sevilla before that. We got the got the smooth dude from Spain. But yeah, that didn't work out.
AVB as
Obviously,
well.
I think Nuno deserves a mention as well, doesn't he? With his infamous interview with that word "proud" that you can't make. No Spurs manager can ever say the word "proud" without us just having Nuno PTSD. I think Ange just said it a couple of times. No, Ange, you don't know what you're doing, pal.
Have you seen that episode of Friends where Ross tries to think of name all the states of America and he can't remember the last one? I have that with Ange when I think of Tottenham managers. My brain just erases him. I keep forgetting he's
with Ange.
No, with Ange, with Nuno.
Nuno.
I just forget he was a part of that. I just felt sorry for him. He was just destined to just be an absolute.
I know, bless him.
Wasn't there long enough to be remembered.
No, poor guy.
Everywhere he looked, there was headlights. Bless him. He was a deer, just caught in every single headlight that ever existed.
He even bought new shoes. Go
on.
I can't remember his name. Santini, the French national team manager, who lasted about a week.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
wow.
When people say they're despondent about losing 2 games when you're sat third in the table, just think back. We were pinning our hopes on every single one of these players at one point. We thought Huddlestone was going to be our Xavi Alonso. We thought Lamela was going to be the next Gareth Bale. We thought Kevin Wimmer was our Christian Romero, but we came roaring back and we got stronger every time we moved on from these people. So, like Ben Davies and Dier get stick. They walk into this team and they captain this team. We've come a long way, boys. Come a long way. Yeah, that was good fun. Enjoyed a bit of different topics today. So up the Spurs. Be back next week. We'll find some more fun content. I think, something like let's discuss our best ever Premier League Tottenham 11 with manager. I want to argue over if you take Ange or Poch and all that kind of stuff. It gets spicy. It could be spicy. All right, boys. Wishing everyone a lovely evening and up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Spurs.
Up the Spurs.